Now we're going to get into the probing process where we continue to plan and develop our pre-call planners, but we're going to get a little bit deeper in terms of creating questions, how we create questions that create a collaborative dialogue, and then we're going to practice a little bit in this module as well. So let's begin with, we're actually going to begin this portion with an exercise, get two people kind of in the middle of the room, and do what they normally do. We're going to observe, have some feedback and comments, and then move on to a little bit about how to set up probing and how to ask questions. All right, so we're going to get into how probing and asking insightful questions creates an environment for getting greater insight, and then how to create the questioning model that we're going to build here to, figure out how to create a collaborative dialogue, clarify and follow up any information, so how you use information to clarify, and then also how you uncover all the critical information, all the goods, and create compelling gaps for people to move forward. So, first thing I'm going to do is kind of set the tone for where we're going in the end. Ultimately, what every salesperson is interested in is getting to the propose and close stage as fast as they can and have the highest rate of success at that level. So let's start there. If we're doing pre-call planning and we're doing questioning, there's an end in mind. And the end is we want to propose and close. The way we increase our close rates while we're in that stage is to increase trust. The way we increase trust is to get deeper insight and to really understand what's happening and create a collaborative relationship and dialogue with those people, which goes all the way back to how we handle our conversations, which goes all the way back to how we plan those conversations. And so it all connects back to the end. So ultimately, this is where we're headed with this. And I'm going to begin this module by saying there's a couple of rules that we're going to keep in mind through the rest of this program and all the way through the coaching sessions. And that is, if you really want to increase your win rates, your close rates, and the speed at which you close business, rule number one is never make a proposal without first verifying and summarizing the goods, which means you understand what's important to the customer. Now, the aha in there is if you don't know, right? So if you don't prepare, if you don't probe and you don't listen for the goods, you can't follow rule number one. And then, of course, rule number two is the old same rule number two. If you ever get tempted to propose or do something without first getting the goods, refer to rule number one. Now, to me, listening is the single most critical skill in all of this. I think I've said that a few times. If you execute questioning and you execute listening, and you actually get to the point where you're proposing or recommending solutions, if you have done this, your rate of success will absolutely go through the roof compared to people who don't do this. If you as a participant can take one thing away from this program, it is this. It's this slide. If you can get in the habit of getting the goods, verifying the goods, and then proposing, your rate of success with customers will go through the roof. But it requires doing these other things in order to accomplish this one objective. It requires planning. It requires asking good questions. It requires listening intently and understanding, and then making the proposal. Back to the stages. You can't skip through the stages because when you get to the end, you realize, I don't have the goods. Which means I can't propose effectively by showing them value and results and benefits. Which means I'm stuck on price and availability. I'm back to looking like everybody else. So this is the single most important slide in the entire presentation.